Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a special edition of the Meet JMT podcast. My name is Jennifer, and I am your host and digital marketing manager here at JMT. During this multi-part series, we will be diving into a topic that has deeply impacted many of our employee owners, the recent hurricane named Helene that swept through western North Carolina and the surrounding region. In this episode, we'll be sharing the first-hand accounts of our Asheville, North Carolina employees and how this natural disaster changed their lives, both on a personal and professional level, as well as the incredible strength that has emerged from this challenging experience. Our hope is to not only highlight the difficulties faced, but also the sense of community and support that has blossomed in its wake.
My name is Zack Levine. I'm a digital marketing and engagement specialist. I work with the creative team and comms team based out of Asheville, North Carolina. Used to live about 15 minutes from our Asheville office. Due to Hurricane Helene, I had to relocate to the east side of town, just outside in Fairview. Still pretty local, but had to move to the other side of town to be able to access fresh running water and all of those things that you've been hearing everybody talk about. I think we had a unique experience with the hurricane. Everybody was affected. As some of you know, my wife gave birth to our twins prematurely back on Christmas Eve of last year. And we've been dealing with that this year, which has been mostly a blessing. They're doing fantastic and growing. And our main goal with all of this basically just became to try to have their life be as unaffected as possible, to provide for them everything that we could. And our focus just shifted even more so, whatever they might need, and make sure that they had everything. So it was definitely a scary time with power being off and the water shutting off soon after that. Luckily, where we lived was high up enough that we didn't personally experience flooding in our home. We were stuck for a couple days as water levels were high in the surrounding area, and just up the road even, there was a bridge that went across a creek that was just water and mud. The water receded soon after, but the mud made it somewhat impassable and trees down and things like that. My in-laws moved to the area in the last year, and there were a couple days that we couldn't get over to them just because of trees down and with no communications. Definitely a stressful time. The cool part was watching the community come together. Everybody was in the same boat, getting resources, having access to resources, finding out information. The radio station was really impressive, mobilized, and started doing updates from the county. And everybody just was all of a sudden finding battery operated radios. And we actually had a hand crank little solar radio that we usually take camping, that we were able to listen to some of the updates on and find out where resources were being gathered. And even before that, we had neighbors coming out and gathering together to bring people things and make sure that everybody had everything. We were gathering water and supplies and sharing where we could. And again, just focused on taking care of the girls and making sure that we had what we needed. There was a couple days at the beginning that were a little touch and go, especially once we did have access to the radio that we heard about the port worker strike. That made everybody pretty nervous here with being able to get supplies and thinking about the future of, rebuilding things and how accessible are things going to be. And my wife and I there's a special formula that one of my daughters eats that we were able to run out. It's only sold in Target, actually. So we went to go to the Target we normally go to, which is right off of Swannanoa River Road and the Swannanoa River, which had a lot of devastation. We got to see some of that firsthand because we had heard Target was open, but it was actually one on the other side of town. As we're approaching that one, it was very obvious that we went to the wrong one and it was closed, and that the just devastation surrounding that area was going to take a long time. I think they're still working on, weeks later, cleaning up that area and helping people in that area. But we were able to get to the store and stock up on the formula that we needed to a comfortable amount so that we felt like, we can at least weather the next couple months and then see what was going to happen on the other side of that. My family has moved to this area over the last couple of years. My immediate family, my in-laws, as I mentioned. Without communication, we really didn't know, how people were, where they were, if they were affected. Luckily, everybody had the houses that they live in were up high enough and away from the creeks and stuff that really flooded. A couple of my family members' houses actually have well water, which became really critical with the city water being out. once they had power back in their homes, we started basically this is now probably a week plus into everything. We started kind of congregating at everybody's places to be able to do laundry and shower and all of those things that really couldn't do with just buckets of water and bottles of water, boiling water and things like that. Yeah, it was a scary time, but we felt really comforted by once we were able to track down and know that everybody was okay in my immediate family, and that we were able to kind of share resources with our local community. And it was also really impressive to see just kind of everybody helping everybody. My wife and I and the babies actually came down with COVID a few days before the storm. That first week was pretty rough. We were just, we didn't get anybody else sick, thankfully, and just kept our distance, but we're still able to kind of get what we needed. And we had everybody was trying to give us diapers and wipes. And so we have a lot of that at this point, which is great, and plan to, donate back when we can in the future. I know with the government organizations coming in, which have also been really responsive and really welcome, just the local community stepping up. And they even stopped accepting donations after a couple of weeks. They set up these depot centers at high schools and different things that are essentially it looks like a Walmart with aisles of things that are just free supplies for people to access. It's like a one-stop shop. So they have showers in these big trucks and potable water and resources all stacked up together. So they stopped accepting donations because there was such a great outpouring of support for this area. And I think one of the things that really blew me away and was really just fantastic to see was that once I was able to get to our office, which again, I only live 15 minutes away, but a lot of roadways were down, the highways in town wasn't so bad. But again, because we didn't have communication, we just weren't sure. And we were trying to conserve gas and how long it was going to take to get access to things. Gas lines where people were sitting for hours outside of the gas stations that did get power. We heard later that it wasn't that there was limited supply, that there was plenty of gas in the area, that it was just the need for gas stations that had power to be able to distribute that gas. Days after the storm, there were long lines of people trying to fill up for gas. And some stores we heard, even without power, were opening, which was fantastic. And literally writing people's information down and taking cash, or if they were taking card, they were writing it down and making you sign something that you were paying for the items that you were taking. And again, the community really came together. And arriving for the first time at the JMT office in Asheville, and just honestly very comforting, just being able to see Mark Paris and Hardy and Stephanie, and hearing that her husband Tim was already out in the field helping with the recovery efforts, and that our survey guys were already out there and helping with the DOT cleanup and assessment of what actually even happened was just amazing. And to get to the office, have a place where there was still not water at the office, but that they had power and internet, and, get in touch with who you needed to. And oh, by the way, your coworkers from other places have already sent supplies, and there was a huge catch of water and food and baby supplies. And it just was extremely comforting and humbling and heartwarming to know that we were being thought of even when we had no way of communicating with anybody. And for everything bad that happened, it was an amazing experience to know that we were so supported by our local family and JMT family, and that after everything that we had been through, that was really fantastic. For us, makes us that much more want to stay here and be here for whatever things are going to be on the other side, to be a part of this community and be able to support everybody that supported us.
Thank you for tuning in to another Meet JMT podcast, where we explored Hurricane Helene's impact on our JMT employees and their remarkable resilience. We hope this episode is a powerful reminder that while we can prepare for many things, we can never fully anticipate the unexpected. As we reflect on the strength and the unity shown during these challenging times, let us embrace these experiences and continue to support one another. Stay safe, stay connected, and we'll see you next time.